All right, thanks for tuning in for the Wednesday Drupal 10 readiness stream. I'm glad to be back and working on Drupal Rector. And I want to give the proper shout out to Palantir.net. So this contribution stream is sponsored by Palantir.net, the project maintainer of Drupal Rector. They are a remote first agile company that gives back to the Drupal project and community, like sponsoring my time to help contribute to their project. If you are looking for a Drupal job and are interested in a remote first company, they have an opening for a Drupal engineer. You can learn more and apply at their website, www.palantir.net. So again, thanks for Palantir. They are sponsoring 5 live streams to get the Drupal Rector project up to speed as we get ready for the Drupal 10 readiness effort. So I'm going to give a little bit of an update to some folks because a few things have changed. About a month ago, I received, or maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I received some funding from the Florida Drupal camp, and I used that to work on PHP Stand Drupal and Drupal Rector. But I kind of like charged in like a bull and threw a lot of big fixes out. And we've come up with a plan to make the more incremental fixes and how we can have a workflow with Drupal Rector to get the best advancements. So one thing that is actually happening is I'm going to turn off my notifications. There we go. What's happened is you might notice that the issues tab is now gone from the GitHub project on the Palantir/Drupal Rector. We still have the pull requests, but we're actually going to move all issue management to Drupal.org. And this way we can leverage the issue credit system. That was one thing that was being brought up is, issues and work was happening on GitHub, but it wasn't necessarily being represented on Drupal.org, where Drupal organizations are rewarded for their contributions. As somebody that maintains PHP Stand Drupal, which is like one of the rock beds of the Drupal major upgrade process, like it is what drives upgrade status to module. A lot of my work did go without recognition, if you will, on Drupal.org. And if an organization is going to spend money to build a project, they should receive that recognition. So that's where we're going to be doing all of our issue management is on Drupal.org. And these issues are where you'll report bugs. We should get this updated on the main project page. I know that's what Ken is working on, Ken, the project manager from Palantir, on how you can work with issues and the guides. But I'm going to start going through some of these issues, and we are going to get this rocket and rolling. The last merge request that came in was a minimal take on my bigger piece of work that got Rector upgraded to Rector 0.10 at least. This is huge because the last release of Rector was June 5th, 2020, and it used Rector 0.7. So we missed 3 minor releases. And when working with PHP Stand and Rector, these minor releases are like major releases in the end, because it's in the 0 dot phase. So it's still like alpha and experimental, if you will. So we are at 0.10, and let's look at some of the issues we can get going on. All right, so the top 10 Drupal deprecations to cover. We're not even there yet because we may have Rector 0.1 or 0.10, but we're not able to run on Drupal 9 yet. So maybe that will be the next step to go here, or moving to Rector 0.11. The hard part will be that some of these need to move concurrently. So let's figure out, I want to try to think of the best way to go forward. Document include exclude rules for rector.php. Let's read this really quick. There are cases where unavoidable conflicts in code create ambiguous class names. For these instances, the solution is to exclude one of the conflicting files. That might be related to the changes in Rector 0.10 from 0.7 is it used to use YAML-based configuration. There is now a rector.php, which loads all of the rules in for you. This is what you point your configuration to. So document include exclude rules. I'm going to leave that be. We could move to Rector. Let's move to Rector 0.11. We'll just start off here because we did get that release. We should test the new version and move to that. Actually, what I do want to get in place is automated testing. Because right now there are some tests, but it is running bhat, which is running the bhat tests are actually, if I can find out where it went, is actually just running a bash script and verifying that everything is modified. And I would like to get some PHP unit tests in there to make sure that we're actually verifying things along the way. So what I'll want to do is, I already did some of this in my initial patch or my initial work here. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of the old work I did and now bring it in since we have parts of it merged. So what I'll do is, see, let's take a run PHP stand for static analysis. We don't have the PHP unit yet, so why don't we just add PHP stand? Let's just start here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to make a new branch. So let's do get new branch. I'm going to call it issue dash there. And how did I run this initially? So I'm just going to go ahead and just copy these. Go to my composer.json. And PHP comes before S, so I will paste it in there. I'm going to run update with composer, so that way we get our extensions. And copy over the PHP stand.neon. And we want to get PHP stand running. This is going to help us write better code and make sure that anything inside this Rector directory or this utility doesn't have unknown bugs. So PHP stand is a static runtime analysis. It's actually what Rector uses underneath the hood for its abstract syntax tree parsing. So we've got that there. Let me go to the workflows and we'll create this static analysis workflow as well. I don't know if, yeah, we'll just do YAML. There's not a new, just, oh, today I learned, I thought there was like a YAML entry in here. So we'll just do, I'm just going to call it PHP stand because we're not going to add any other static analysis tools like Psalm by Vimeo. So let's go ahead and we'll change the name to be PHP stand. Test on every push or pull request. Runs on Ubuntu latest. All right, so we'll do that, and let's actually just run it really quick locally. I always like to prefix things with PHP. So we have no errors. Let's go ahead and bump it up a little bit. Let's do level 1. So one thing I do like to do with PHP stand is I start at level 0 and I incrementally go up, so that way I can figure out like what's the higher level that I can start at. So that way we can find bugs. In this case, I found a bug, which isn't quite a bug. So this lovely file, this Drupal PHP unit bootstrap file, is used to handle bridging PHP unit between Drupal 8 and Drupal 9. Well, in this instance, it's just Drupal 8, but Drupal 8 supports PHP unit 6 and 7, and there's various bridges that are used to fill that gap. So that's always a wonderful problem. So it uses PHP unit version, but we don't have PHP unit as a dependency, but when you have Drupal, you probably do. So if class exists, so we do check it here, otherwise we assume 7. I don't have the Drupal code open right now, but if we were to go into it, there is a PHP unit compatibility trait, and this is used as an alias. And long story short, we need this code to make sure that you can analyze and read test code properly inside of your module. But it is warning that, let's see, what was the warning? This might not be defined, so if this equals null and is not an instance of, throw new should not happen. line 14. So I guess we need to say if not is set this. Is always false. So I guess we can replace the is set, the null check. So now we have no errors again, because I should have just done is set versus is null. We're going to bump it up to one more, because we did actually have a bug that PHP stand could have caught the first time when updating it. So now we're getting into areas of where it's processing things but might have the wrong type, and I don't want to go there until we get PHP unit, so that way we can do Xdebug much more easily. Because when we have PHP unit, we can actually write tests for all of these rules, and when you test the rules, we can do it with Xdebug enabled, so we can just step through and put in the proper assertions. So I'm going to leave it at step 1, and we've got this here. I'm going to copy their existing on. Usually I limit to push and pull request on the main branch, not a pull request to some other branch, but we'll just keep it as is. So let's go ahead and we'll do, let's just check the diff here. And to check the diff, I'm doing Command D, or you can do right click, show diff, which in Windows would probably be Control D, something like that. So yep, we added the deprecation rules, PHP stand. Usually I also add PHP stand strict rules, but I don't think we're going to be there yet to add that in. And then we're telling it to look at config, source, and rector.php. So I'm going to add this. And since we're using Drupal.org, I'm going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to retitle this and copy the commit message here. So let's call it use PHP stand for static analysis of project code. So let's retitle it. I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to use the commit message from here. You know, some of this will be like, as we get through the flow, like contributors won't need to do this, but since I know this is how it goes, I'm just going to do it. So I'm going to copy this git commit message. I'll pop it in here. And let's do a push. Hey, Tyler, thank you. Also, thank you, Tyler, for subscribing. You are my first official Twitch subscriber, which I'm still new to Twitch, so I'm still grokking what that entirely means. But thank you. I know it's not like a YouTube subscriber because it has... There's a subprime giving. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm assuming so. Wait. So I did a push. Hold on. Oh, don't open Chrome. So I have this weird conundrum where I use Brave as my primary personal browser, but I also use Chrome for work because everything's tied to Google Workspaces. So I have it all set up there and the different profiles. But when I click a link, it opens Chrome. I wish there was some way to toggle it, like during X, Y, and Z, default Brave, during other Chrome. But enough of that. So I'm going to copy this issue. So also this live stream is going to be kind of working out the flow for what it's like contributing to Drupal Rector, where we have the code on GitHub, but we're using Drupal.org for issue management. And in case anybody's curious, I have considered moving projects to Drupal.org and served on Packagist. In previous streams, I've worked on the Drupal static autoloader, which is going to remove autoloading logic from PHP stand to its own package that Drupal Rector can also leverage. For example, this PHP unit bootstrap file, PHP stand has one, Drupal Rector has one. There's no reason for it to be in both projects and become out of sync. We can move it to a standard location. This project is on Drupal.org, and if you look at Packagist, we're able to download it from Drupal.org. So the package is, the code is on Drupal.org, the issues on Drupal.org, and it pushes to packages automatically thanks to the GitLab instance on Drupal.org. The only problem I have with this is that I would burn through so much of the Drupal Association's infrastructure budget with the amount of testing that's required. Drupal Rector has a very lightweight test matrix right now, but this is where I want to get Drupal Rector to, but if I show you the PHP stand Drupal actions flow, oh great, there's a head failure. But it's testing PHP 7.3, 7.4, 7.2, and 8.0 against 8.9, 9, and also doing a build integration with various things. So trying to run this test matrix on Drupal.org may not be that feasible, but it is possible to have non-Drupal modules on Drupal.org via the general project and publish them to packages. They're actually using this for the Once project to also push it to NPM. So it's possible. I'm using Drupal Static Autoloader as my experiment to see how feasible it is to put everything that's related to Drupal on Drupal.org. I do like having everything consolidated there, just as CiviCRM does that. CiviCRM, there's some projects on GitHub, but almost everything is in their GitLab instance. I like things not being on GitHub, but it just is so easy. So that tangent aside, also thank you Cblow Jones for the subscription with Prime. It's cool. Second subscription today. We got failures, and 10 bucks says that this is due to the security limitations. It's not. Oh. So I thought that this failure would be due to something else. So with the advent of GitHub Actions, there's also people running crypto miners, and you wouldn't be allowed to publish anything unless you made a commit. And it looks like it is going to run, but see, why did it fail? Syntax error, unexpected line, end of line on 185. Hold the phone. Oh, yeah. I did something stupid up here? What? Oh. I did something real stupid, and that's actually surprising that PHP stand didn't catch it, or maybe I accidentally committed it. Oh shoot, you know what I did? I'm pretty sure I hit Command D in here, or in the diff, and I duplicated the line and I didn't pay attention. So that's it. See at 4:30. Oh, wait. See at 4:30. All right. I think I know who that is. All right. So we got that here. Let's do a diff check. All right. I'm going to do an amend. Or first, I'm going to do git add, config there, and I'm going to do git amend. Git amend I have as a git alias to do git commit amend, because I do this a lot. Now I'm going to do a force push, and we'll go back to the pull request, and we'll get it running. And I'm going to be, I'm excited if this goes through. So it's queued. All right, so that's going down through. So again, PHP stand will be doing the static analysis, and then this functional test is actually leveraging Behat to run the Rector against an installed code base and verifies via diff that things run. Inside my initial work, I had consolidated this to its own direct call, where it would do Rector process and then do the diff directly, so we don't need to have Behat as a dependency. So that might be one of the next things. I'm going to actually open an issue for that. And this is setting up our infrastructure for the project, so that way we can move faster, test a lot, and keep on going. I believe in high test coverage gives you high velocity, which means you can get a lot of stuff done. which makes for happy stakeholders. So I'm going to say, here's the PR. I'll mark this needs review for kicks and giggles. All right, so create issue. Let's remove behat for running functional test and use commands directly. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Put this as a task. I'm gonna put there. Oh, I want to fix one thing quick. So if you haven't actually contributed to Drupal before, you can specify your organization, which is Bluehorn Digital. I have Bluehorn Digital and Brewed Up as my organization. Brewed Up is a coffee app thing I'm working on that's built on top of Drupal with JSON API, and I'm trying to credit myself for improvements. But you can also say for your different customers, such as I'm going to make sure I put in here for Palantir.net. So when this issue's closed, they receive credit. So I'm working via Bluehorn Digital for Palantir.net, and that is now going to be reflected in the issue credit here. And where this ends up, if you're not familiar, sorry, I do bounce around a lot. That is just how my brain works. This ranking is based on issue credits and also where you received your issue credits. Drupal core is ranked higher. So if you get a lot of patches in for Drupal core, you get higher in the rank. So yeah, that goes like Palantir's here. They have 18 issue credits and are near the top because case studies also count. So yeah, that's where the issue credits come in hand, and the marketplace kind of incentivizes people to contribute because then you rank higher in the marketplace and you are more prolific to people who use Drupal. I'm going to clear out this issue summary and say right now behat is used to execute Rector and run the diff command for a functional test. We can skip behat and just do this manually. That was done here in my initial proof of concept. All right, so let's get this passing. It is passing. Even though something says it passed, I still always like to review the output because something dumb can happen. So right here, behat ran a basic test and behat ran the Rector. It ran Rector and it verified that things matched. PHP stand, static code analysis, ran no issues. So why don't I go back to the pull request and I wish, this is the one thing I really dislike about GitHub and why I do like Drupal.org. So on Drupal.org, I could say, or maybe not, that's right, you can't assign to random people. I wish I could mark this as needing review or give it a label, but I can't. So I guess this is just where it's going to end up. So we got PHP stand added. And next up, I'm going to work on this. So I'm going to remove behat for running functional tests and use commands directly. The only problem that I could see is that it runs this deprecation index feature, which provides some kind of the file is valid, so it parses it. No, we can move this to a script. In a different thing, in my previous work, I moved this to a PHP unit test, but we can even move this to its own script as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And why do I care so much about replacing behat with this is less dependencies and easier code maintenance. The end goal is to move to PHP unit because Rector has some really great test cases for that we can borrow for writing more tests. So I'm going to copy the issue node ID and I'm going to go through the same motion. I'm going to go back and check out main and I'm going to do a new branch. So I have git nb is an alias for git checkout -b. At the same time, I could just open my workbench inside PHP Storm, do new branch, say issue this, Now let's go ahead and create, I'm going to copy this functional test. It sets up Drupal, but what does this do in here? So, okay, so this does the same thing. Or no, oh wait, hold on. Composer require core dev 8, Drupal Rector dev. It copies it, which is what okay, so I'm going to move this into, I'm just going to replace this because this is something that Dan had already copied from what I worked on. So it creates the Drupal project, sets up the basics, and what we could do if we wanted to is I created a GitHub Action which performs all of this. It does all of this and lets you add your own dependency in self. I have this used in PHP Stand Drupal, but we'll I'll just make an issue for this as well. Or maybe I could, let's get this running and then I might try adding it in. We'll do that. So I'm going to get this running and then try to add it in, which will automate a lot of this, but let's just get it to pass. Let's just make sure it works. It passes. This does not handle the inspection of the deprecation index.yaml, which is parsed by something. Something parses this and does stuff with it. I can't remember what. So let's go here, and what I'll do is we will create a, let's do a new file, scripts, validate deprecation index.yaml, or .php rather. That's right. What's Behat doing in here? Features. So I examine the file. The file is valid. All right. So let's do this. So we want to require once. Let's do the directory magic constant, and we'll do vendor autoload.php. This gets the autoloader running. We'll do data equals file get contents. So it receives a file name and it's passed in here. I think it's fine enough if we hard code this path as well. Deprecation index. So let's see here. So if data is equal to false, which we're using PSR2 code standards here, so let's make it lowercase. So file get contents returns string or false, false if there's a failure. So let's copy the file name. We'll say throw new runtime exception. The deprecation index could not be read. So we're just converting it to a PHP script. And if the PHP script throws an exception, it's going to halt the CI process as well. So the file is valid. So let's do parse data equals YAML parse. And this is why I had to do the vendor autoload include. So that way we have access to this class. So let's parse the data. And if we get a parse exception, it's going to crash. So we'll do a try catch. We'll make it be, we'll make the output pretty. So import the class, and this is going to be data. Let's do a parse new runtime exception. Why is this yelling at me? Exceeds. Yeah, that's why it's yelling at me. All right, so we'll do that. All right, so that follows this part. Ensure YAML is parsable. I don't even know if that's a word, but spell checker says it is. Let's copy this in. So Unicode characters sometimes get added. So let's validate against that. So the examine file only uses. So let's copy this here. Like I said, in the other instance, I used PHP unit for this to copy this over, but I don't have PHP unit added to this, and I just want this initial patch just to remove bhat. And I totally forgot what data it was reading. This examine file contents. So yeah, data. So be detect coding. What's the suggestion here? The true, false. 0 spaces before closing parenthesis. New line found. Unhandled. We'll do new. All right. So if I go ahead and I should just be able to do run. Why is run not? Oh. 1 second. I go to PHP. No, I have a runtime, but I don't have the ability to run the script from here. So let's do, that's weird. So GitHub scripts. We have no error, but if we did, we could say, you know, let's do here. So if it's not equal to false, script crashes. So then we are able to add this to the CI. So let's do that here. We'll just add another job. Validate deprecation index to do probably move to PHP unit job test instead. So name, validate. That's not how you spell deprecation. Deprecation. You know, you think I would have that really down pat for how much I've had to type deprecation in the past 3 years. Index, and then we got runs on Ubuntu latest. Just copy these initial steps. We don't need any of those extensions. We don't need to set up Drupal. We just need a composer install, which is not in here. So we'll do a composer install and then run PHP. We'll copy this. All right, let's go ahead and get the commit message. And I'll do the push. Oh, select files to commit. So again, let's look. We got that script. We're actually not done yet, because what I should do too is go to composer.json, and we're going to do composer remove. Let's do composer remove. Let's remove behat. Will be, yes, remove it from required dev. So like right there, it helped remove a whole bunch of dependencies. Honestly, it's going to, well, some additional ones because PHP stand is no longer there. A lot of these will probably end up back in when we add PHP unit, but it just helps make things a little bit slimmer. And really, YAML's not even needed anymore. Since we're not using, the only reason we need the YAML parser is for that deprecation index.yaml. And I wonder if there's some other way we could get around that. Specifically because this could add conflicts to Drupal when having to parse Drupal. All right, so let's go ahead and add this all in. Let's do a push. I'll open the Git. Got the pull request. I'm just surprised it's not prompting me to open a pull request here. Maybe if I view my fork. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's compare and create the pull request. Okay, and I'm going to link that to here. All right, so now we've got that running. This has been triaged. So this ran the script, no errors. Let's look at run functional test. So this is going to be installing Drupal. And the next step is I want to add this setup action in here. No, not PHP stand. I want Llama PHP stand. So if I go to .github, workflows, I have it all in one workflow file for better or worse. So in here, I have it set up and, oh, why? It's still running this require when it shouldn't be. But we can add that in. I'm going to check something real quick. But due to private repositories, I am going to launch it on a new tab. Source index. So this is the setup action. Extra dependencies. So it sets up the local package. It just doesn't add it automatically. Okay. Which it could be done if it was specified as a extra dependency. But that's not too bad. So we'll copy that in, and that's going to reduce a lot of the boilerplate setup in that workflow. So this went through, it ran the diff. There's no diff. Run Rector, it parsed all the files. So it refactored. This is good to know. So like refactoring, applying, it's applying all the rules. This is what we want to see happen. Perfect. So let's go ahead, and this is like test-driven development, right? We've got the initial test. Let's do a refactor, push again, and see what happens. So we've got this set up, and let's copy this setup Drupal. So the tabbing, the spacing is different here. So we don't have a matrix version. We just have good squiggly 8. So Drupal 8. This is installing it to the Drupal path. Core dev with all dependencies. So we can delete this, and we can delete that line. Yeah, so the setup Drupal will install Drupal here, and then we're going to require our own project as .dev. And real quick, I want to see, so I have an extra dependencies, require extra dependencies. So it is an array. So we could just add it into there. Maybe. How do I split it? So extra dependencies is just get input. Oh, so yeah, we could possibly do that there. We'll try it out. See, you think I should know with my own project, but I haven't had to try it. So let's go ahead and I'll do an amend commit, because I can just do some local history. So git add GitHub workflows, YAML, git amend, and I can do an amend through the PHP unit UI or PHP Storm UI. It's just I'm bounced back and forth between the command line and inside PHP Storm like no other. So let's do another git push force. And let's see if leveraging the my action works and helps remove some of the workflow code that we have to write. Again, that setup Drupal came out of the fact that I have that code inside Drupal check and PHP stand Drupal, and that Drupal Rector needed it too. So we'll just see how well this goes, and then we'll pick another issue to move on to. Wait, how is it this fast? Okay, here we go. It was like a cache version of it. So set up Drupal. There we go. So it's running all the extra scripts in here that are required. And then it added Rector. Perfect. It's parsing, applying. Okay, so it does the dry run, and then it shows you everything that happens, and happy path. Awesome. So we've got those two running in. So now we've got two issues that need review, making sure I've got the attribution right. One second. Okay. So we've got that there. We got upgrade to Rector 0.10, move to Rector 0.11, add PHP unit testing. All right, why don't we go here? So a lot of this, I'm working mostly on the infrastructure for this live stream. So that way, next week when I come back here again, we will be able to, really start hitting the dirt and working a lot of these items. I'm also trying to think of the best way I can work on this without blocking myself. So let's pick up, I'm going to look at Rector 0.11 and this PHP unit testing. Hire changes the composer repository for Rector. All right, so this, let's read into here. So prefixed Rector by default, this was a big change. So if you have Symfony console, no. All right. New single way is Rector to dev. So why don't I'm actually going to start working on this, I think. So let's check this out. If I go to main, and if I do a composer install, Rector prefix is abandoned. You should avoid using it. Which actually, if we were to go back to some of my original code, inside, this will actually be kind of interesting. So it had Rector prefixed as the requirement, but for require dev, that's not it. Here we go. Wrong branch. Sorry. So Rector prefixed, but require dev had Rector as a dev requirement, so we could use its PHP unit tests or base classes. So this should be interesting to see. Let's go ahead and start on this. So let's do get new branch issue, and then we'll try to figure out PHP unit after this one, because this, like, the PHP unit stuff leverages Rector test class bases, and if we upgrade to this format, we're gonna have to redo all the work. So it makes sense to get this updated with the new format versus getting PHP unit added, and then we have here. All right, so we're now on the branch. Let's change this. So it's no longer Rector prefixed. Let's change it to 0. All right, or to .11. So these are the versions that came up. Let's run update. Now, updating it locally doesn't make a difference because, well, it does, but we don't commit the .lock file. So we'll have to get it pushed up to their repo to run a test run. And this branch doesn't have PHP stand or the other testing locally, so it's just flying blind. If you watched any of my other live streams, you'll see that I'm very test oriented and like to do test driven development. It's like, this is hard for me because I really like having confidence in my code before I push it up to the CI. So let's do a quick git diff locally. That's it. Let's copy the commit message here. Move to Rector. Make a comment. This also resolves the error of, for that SEO juice, because somebody's going to copy and paste that and search for it, and they're going to see it. Close that tab out. All right, so I'm going to copy this message. I don't even know if it's move to Rector. I feel like it should just be like move from Rector prefix. Whatever. This is good enough of a name. So we have that. And let's do a push. Push. Actually, what I could do is I could probably just open the pull request from in here. Well, I should be able to. Oh, here's a plus button. Oh, that's weird. So I had to view it first before I could add that. So from our issue to origin main, drops Rector prefixed. So I'm going to create the pull request. And it's running the checks. So that's pretty cool. So I know VS Code has this built in because Microsoft owns GitHub and created VS Code. But JetBrains has done a really good job improving the pull request tab inside of PHP Storm when using GitHub. And I'm pretty sure you can use it with Atlassian maybe. Although they don't check your permissions very well, because I don't have permissions to do a handful of those operations. So let's go back to the repo. I'm going to try to bring it back. That really made a pull request against my own project. Sure did. That's not what I wanted. It passed. That's good. But that's not where I wanted that to go. So let's go back to the list. All right, so let's go here. Now we got it fixed. All right, so I picked the wrong base to be looking at. Moves from Rector prefixed to just Rector. Yeah, and it's not going to let me assign anybody then because I don't have permission. Let's do create pull request. And there, now I don't have permission to merge. All right, sorry. That was my own problem, not JetBrains' bug. So if I refresh, we've now got the pull request. So when I do these live streams, I like to try to go through the different ways I do things. I don't often make pull requests via PHP Storm. I'll use the GitHub CLI or just the good old way of clicking through the user interface. But I like to show people different features. So we've got this running. There's only one workflow it's going to run. Let's see if this goes through. So it's going to set up Drupal, but we need to wait till it gets past this step and into install Drupal Rector. So locking Rector, and now it's going to run. All right, so that's going. It passed. So I guess we're good. Yeah, so it processed everything. The diff being run inside of the hat was happy. So let's go ahead and link this. Did I link this? No, I did not. So let's link that pull request. And mark it as needs review. All right, now the hard part is moving forward. I've created 3 different pull requests, and it can be kind of hard to move forward right now. Constants defined in .modules are not discovered using Rector 0.10. So I'm gonna. This is why. So this is due to changes in how PHP parser and PHP stand handle loading of directories. Is one reason I started working on the abstracted autoloader to share between PHP stand Drupal and Drupal Rector. Let's see if I can get back to my fork quickly. So if we go to config, Drupal 8, I need to figure out where I set this up. Autoload paths. This. Oh, did this work without the extra autoloading and just a PHP unit? My memory could be wrong, but PHP stand Drupal definitely had this problem. When we get PHP unit testing in, we can cover this. We can cover this testing more easily. Yeah. So that's one reason PHP unit's nice, is it makes it a lot easier to test these integrations where the Drupal code isn't being auto-loaded properly. So I want to just kind of keep triaging to see where we can work on something. Add a custom binary to run Rector with default config. It runs Rector with default configuration. Oh, we could do this. This might be a fun idea. So right now and this is something that could be done without having to worry about the other issues. So if I load the README, common limitations, introduction, where's installation? So you run this composer require, and then you have to copy the rector.php. So my idea was if we just had our own script that basically called Rector with this configuration, so to streamline that. Let's see. There is I'm gonna test this locally. Let me. So we're going to show. So we can do GitHub PR checkout 151 composer install PHP vendor bin PHP stand. Check out my branch. The easiest way is via the GitHub CLI. So if you're not using the GitHub CLI, I highly recommend it, especially if you want to check out pull requests locally, which I wish we had this 4 years ago, 5 years ago when we worked on Drupal Commerce on GitHub, because adding all the different upstreams and remotes was a headache. So comment that. All right, so let's see. The Drupal 9 support, I don't want to add till we have better test coverage, because that just means that, I mean, we can, I guess. Let's see here. Add support for Drupal 9. There are changes required. So maybe I could start with this on the existing workflow. The problem is I didn't even get that far. So actually, I didn't even get that far yet to supporting Drupal 9. This is here because all these examples are based on Drupal 8. So to get to Drupal 9, we have to namespace a bunch of things. So Drupal 9 support actually has to wait a minute till we get some, I want to get the testing involved, because then we can write the tests. Let's see. Encourage 8.x users to upgrade to the latest version before running Rector. Tries to find some classes that only exist in newer versions of core. Let's see here. Maybe this could be an easy one to parse out. Oh yeah, this is my epic original thread. Previous versions. Bump Rector to 1017. Let's see. I wonder if there's a way that we could actually promote people to do this. I don't know of a way we could do it without having a. Let's see. I don't know if there's a way we could do that. So documentation. Yeah, I guess maybe it's just a documentation thing. So when we do that, so documentation, guides live there, scope and limitations, common limitations, issues are managed on Drupal.org. Hey, that is there. Installation. So I guess we can add it to installation. It just feels very far down. I guess we could do something like main. New branch issue there. Let's just get a new branch. It is to have the best experience with Drupal Rector. Your Drupal site should be on the latest minor version of Drupal. So documentation of supported versions. So it feels weird to talk about Drupal 9 here. So to have the best experience with Drupal Rector, your site should be on the latest version of the latest minor version. And I would hope people understand what that means. Your Drupal site should be running version 8.9. We'll just say that. And we'll link to support for Drupal 9 is in development. And we can link to the issue if anybody wants to know. And I'm proud of myself for getting Markdown links right. So let's go ahead and take a stab at it. I wish I would give like an option to like, there, we'll just copy, never mind. There we go. Let's do a push. And how I talked about showing how to do things differently, we'll do GitHub PR create. There's the title, no body, submit. And it submitted the pull request. So if we go here, we'll see that it created. So let's go ahead. Here's a stab at adding some notes. And it links to the Drupal 9 tickets. So we can update that when Drupal 9 is supported. So we got that. I'm going to quick assign this to myself. Oh, he already credited me for part of it. Save. Let's refresh. So constants, that's going to take some time to look at. The top Drupal 10 deprecations. This is I'm going to mark this as postponed, which in Drupal it's common to do PP1 postponed by 1. So if there's like 2 blockers, you would do PP2, etc. Marking this as postponed until that. And I'll add it as a related issue. Although I guess it's like the parent issue, but we'll just say there. And I guess now it's time to move on. So add support Windows file paths. Oh. Switching the slashes. Let's see. I think this might be fixed with. Oh, okay. So I had this with Drupal check as well. So the Drupal root. Had this problem in Drupal check as well. Let's see. I added @var for Windows builds. So there is, you can use @var for Windows builds. And @var, can't say I use it all the time, but I had added it in, and I'm going to make a note of it here. Example, build file. So I have it in here. It creates the folder and runs through and runs a Drupal check. Now, I can't remember what changes. Fix call to PHP stand far. All right, so this commit added Windows support. This commit is what I added for Windows support. Is there something that PHP should handle the directory changes? Or the proper, oh, we had to do real path. The fix seemed to be wrapping real path to any hard-coded paths. Yeah, but I remember somebody, so PHP, Windows, and Unix directory paths. Make path work on both. Windows is either backslash or forward slash, so just use forward slashes and you'll be fine. The problem is here, it looks like it's the problem looks like it's because it's using a combined format of forward and backslash. So I wonder if that's the problem. Because the original ones here are all forward slash, and then it goes to backslash. So without being able to get @var running, I don't know if I can fix it. But what we could do is probably wrap these in real path, and maybe that would fix it. Yeah, because I only had to do it here when trying to do auto loading. All right, yeah, I think that's it. So here we go. Notice how the slashes get changed. I bet passing code real path real path to the directories in the autoloader path would fix this. So I'm guessing, so we have here the Drupal root from Drupal Finder. That's giving us this path. Or rather, yeah, so we're doing /core. That's where we're getting this path, let's say, and then it's going through and it's doing the Windows version later on. So if we were to do a git checkout or git checkout main, get new branch issue there. So if we do, I'm holding down the option key to do a multi-cursor, then Command Shift arrow to just highlight the entire row, and wrapping. So I wrapped it all in a parentheses by just holding it, doing parentheses, it put around it all. And now we're wrapping it all in real path. So I think this little change would fix that. So it returns a canonicalized absolute path name. We'll have no symbolic link or ... components, which I don't know, maybe this would fix it. As we see here that they had forward slashes and then backslashes. And according to this, Windows is either backslash or forward slash. I'm pretty sure by default is backslash. So it's probably just getting freaked out because it's flippy flopping. So we'll toss this up. Let's see. Let me edit my comment to make sure I have the right attribution. And then we're going to create a new issue. We'll make the commit. All right. 315-321-95, blah, blah, blah. And that looks right. Let's do a push. And again, we'll do the GitHub PR create. Use that title, skip adding the body, submit it. And I can just, I think they made it where you can copy. No. I thought you could just right click and copy the URL. Apparently not. So paste that pull request, needs review. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pull requests that have come in now. And this needs manual testing. Needs manual testing on Windows. Look at that. There's actually a tag for that. Would benefit from manual testing or an app there run. GitHub Actions Windows. On Windows. GitHub PR checkout 156 composer so how to add this PR to your Drupal project. All right. I wrote up how to do this. Close. Let's go to the one that I closed. As I put instructions on how to test. Here we go. So this would add that there. So you add it as a custom version control link, then do composer require with that branch. Copy that, then do event. Stop capitalizing it. Vendor bin Rector. So I think that's how they said they ran the command. And robot loader. Okay, there's. It could be the upgrade Rector module too, but we'll try this out. All right. So hopefully that can support Windows. I don't have a Windows machine, but oh yeah, that's right. GitHub Actions. Microsoft's GitHub Actions for desktop apps. Windows. DevOps for Windows. Create a CI workflow for Windows Forms on .NET Core. Set up .NET. Oh, wait. What? Oh, you can run on Windows? No. Wait. Really? Hold the phone. GitHub Actions environments. Not the environments, but using GitHub hosted runners. About customizing. What? All right. So sorry, I'm super pumped here. I had no idea you could run Windows. I'm going to convert this to a draft. And I'll comment here. So I always like to put communication in the issue, not the pull request, because otherwise you've got two forked conversations. Actions supports Windows. I hope there's not like some catch to this. So let's try this out. 960. 1 second. I'm going to try to. Oh, sweet. That one got merged. Yep. Okay. So that's got that all set. Sweet. All right. Let's try to let's do this thing. I know I totally modified this in a different one. So this will end up being in conflict. Let's see. So if that merged, we could run it more easily, but let's just try it out. So to do a test matrix, I can't even remember off the top of my head. And I don't know if this setup PHP works on Windows. So let's first see. Windows. All right. So it works. Only for PHP 8. Oh, that's the pre-installed. All right, so let's try this out. And there's the matrix. Great. So it runs on. We're just gonna do some great old copy paste. And so run, job runs on. Let's do strategy, matrix, operating system. Why not? Let's do all three. Actually, we'll ditch Mac OS. That should be fine. And we're not going to change any of that. Let's just see. I'm really curious to see what happens here. Git add workflows, git amend, git push F. The reason I do amends and force commit or force pushes is I do like to have just a single commit for things. At least when it's like a contribution or small thing like this. So I'm going to be so geeked. It's got a Windows environment. My mind is blown right now. I was so used to having to use AppVeyor, and I had no idea GitHub Actions could be on Windows. So that's super exciting. I'm gonna take a little screenshot so I can share it on the Twitterverse afterwards, because I'm probably behind the times. Everybody else knows but me. So I really hope this works without a lot of extra changes like CD and move. But yeah. Let's see. And this is in PowerShell, right? I think. Yeah, PowerShell. Windows, PowerShell, environment, variable prefix. How to set. Oh, well, let's try just deleting that. Well, it's... Do I really want to go down this rabbit hole right now? I do. But I would rather set... let's see. I have a better idea, I think. So, memory... INI. Let's see. PHP support, usage, cache extensions, versioning, dependencies. What I'd rather do, set up PHP with usage section and examples. So I'd rather just turn off or set the memory limit to be -1. But I don't know how. I don't think you can do that. Where's the examples? Like if they got Magento in here, I know that's a memory hog. They don't. Let's just try removing it. Or memory limit, use DuckDuckGo. Because I'd love to get Windows testing on this thing like right away. Yep. I'm not seeing it here. Oh. Memory 7.4 is -1. Oh, I think maybe it is default -1 everywhere. Let's delete that. And see what happens. Add, amend, and push. There. Let's see. My phone's telling me, which the GitHub app for your phone is pretty awesome. And oh, look at here. It's they're highlighted that there's been actions. So 2 yeah. I forgot. I forgot about that readme. Well, that other thing runs automated testing, adding tests. Let's see. Tests are located in features. You'll need the setup mentioned above for how this is done. I'll adapt it to talk about manually running the Rector on examples, and the diff. So I need to get back to 152. And let's check this out here. We do not need the .lock. Generally, PHP libraries exclude it. Since it has no effect on the root project. It has no effect. Thank you, Grammarly. Should have used you before I commented. All right. Brain is recycling. We're going back to support Windows file paths. Windows latest. It's still running. Oh, wait. Cannot find path at, because it does not exist. Run cd ... So that's not working. Failed to update. All right, so I guess it's not entirely feasible. I'm just going to make a comment here. Note, leaving as a draft until manual review. Also, not sure if we should go down the Windows runner rabbit hole, specifically with trying to configure the composer VCS URL. All right, so we got that. I need to clean up my tabs. So that needs review. Let's go back to here. All right. Remove bhat. So this has a conflict. So let's get cranking on it. That was issue. I wish you could copy this URL and not have your name in it. Like, I don't want that. So let's get checkout main. Let's do, so actually I want to show this real quick because it's pretty neat that they added it. So now you can actually do fetch upstream. So it says I'm 6 commits behind Palantir Net. Wait, I don't want to do a fetch and merge. I want to do a rebase. I don't trust that button. So let's do git fp. So fp I have as an alias for fetch -- prune. So the upstream. And then, sorry, 1 second. I'm going to reply to Ken on Slack. check at the bottom. All right. So I fetched the upstream. Now I can do git rebase upstream main and push. So now it should say that I'm even. Great. I want to get back into this branch. So I'm going to search for it here. I'm going to check it out. And I'll use the the built-in tool from PHP Storm to do my rebase, which is great when you have a conflict because it gives an awesome user interface. So I'm going to click merge. And here's our conflict here. So we'll add this in, and we're supposed to remove behat. So I can manually do the merge in a nice user interface instead of having to open it up later. So I'm going to click apply, continue rebasing, and a composer.json is where I expect. Run update. Let's try to work on this automated testing README. So it's just a Rector automated functional test. So let's see. Let's use all the built-in suggestions. Official name for the software is there. So GitHub. GitHub workflows. GitHub Action workflows test that this package can be installed. See the workflows in .github/workflows. Rector automated functional test. They need to be run from this environment. These assume, we'll call it Rector functional testing. We'll make a note from that environment. These tests assume that this repository is installed as a local composer package. We need a full Drupal site to run the test. I've never understood this setup or how to replicate it locally. The tests are located in features. Well, no, it's not here. We don't have the behat test anymore. To run the functional test, adding test should be pretty simple. You can also test for individual files. Test make a copy of the file folder where we are going to test. So you don't have to worry about overwriting files in those directories. So I guess that's the one thing that these did, and I didn't even delete these. So, okay. One second. Sorry, I don't like to have Slack open when I'm doing the live streams, but I am just replying to Ken, who's helping merge things in the background and chatting to me via Drupal Slack. All right, so one thing that we need to do is, I guess the one benefit of the Behat runner is if anybody ran it locally, it would copy the files for them. But like, I don't think anybody ran this locally is the one problem, except for the maintainers. So to run this functional test, you'll need setup mentioned above. Then, so let's see here. I run Rector on the test. So this runs Rector, adding tests. Test should be pretty simple. We'll test the entire, report any differences. I'm just going to automated testing. I don't think anybody's going to run this test locally. So I don't know if this needs its own dedicated testing. So let's see. Rector functional testing. Delete that. We got docs. The functional test takes the Rector examples directory in this package and copies it to a Drupal site, to a Drupal code base. The workflow then runs Rector via runs. Let's actually just copy it. Runs to refactor and to apply all of the appropriate Rector rules. Then the diff command is run to verify the changes match the expected results as found in the Rector examples updated directory. To add new tests, create a sample file in Rector examples and a copy with the expected changes into Rector examples updated. I think that works. I think that helps explain how it can go. I don't know. I'll throw it up and we'll see what happens. So do a git status, git add the readme, and I'm going to do another amend, and I git push. And again, thanks to Palantir, who is sponsoring my time to work on Drupal Rector and these live streams that I'm doing. They'll be doing this one, and every Wednesday for the next 4 weeks, I'll be going through this. So, or there's 4 more times. I'll be doing this 4 more times thanks to Palantir. And that's running. I'm going to tag Ken on these changes. Let me know if these changes work. Try using the rich diff view for better grokking. So that's one thing, if you didn't know that, like if you're looking at a markdown file, like this is atrocious trying to read, you can do the rich diff, which shows more of the changes in a much more appropriate fashion. Like you can actually understand what the changes were made here. that this was removed, and these are the lines that were added. All right, so let's see. Closed, adds a pull request template. Awesome. Let's check that out. What was added in here? Nice. So nice, I had to make sure I said it was nice. All right, and this note was added. So let's go back to the pull requests. I'm gonna quick open these two. Uh-oh, we had a failure. PHP stand. Oh, what? That didn't happen before. Why did it pass before? Now it's failing. Did we have a... Oh, shoot. Did we have a... Did we have like a hidden dependency on something? Because of behat? So container configurator of anonymous function has an invalid type hint. Interesting. So let's look here. This type hint. Rector prefix. All right. I got to do a update. Interesting. We have a failure once behat was removed and its dependencies. That's super odd. So that means there was like a hidden dependency. Or not. So configurator has an invalid type hint. Is it because it's coming? Oh, because it's coming through Rector prefixed? Ah, jeez. So class alias, the Rector prefix to Symfony. Let's do PHP vendor bin PHP stand. Has an invalid type hint. And so when we had behat, oh man. Is this because of the Rector prefix business going on? I think so. So it makes me wonder if I do composer require dev Symfony. Just behat. All right, let's copy this. And let's add that as a dev dependency. And see if that fixes it. Which it does. Let's see. Drupal does an interesting way of having an inline comment. I need to see where it's done. Composer.json. Extra. README. That's not it. Somewhere they do like an inline comment somehow. Maybe it's in the core. composer.json. It's towards the bottom. I swear I saw somewhere there's a trick. Maybe I've seen it in like NPM things. Symfony dependency injection is required for PHP stand to pass due to Rector prefixing. Let's see, composer. I wonder if that fails composer validate though. Not defined and does not allow additional properties. And JSON doesn't let you do comments. So I just want to know why. Let's see. Extra. Maybe we'll just put it in here. Still feels weird having to do that. So parameter container configurator of anonymous has invalid type hint type. I'm just curious what it's expecting the type to be. So let's wrong one. 8.0 as invalid type hint. Otherwise, it just errors out. So let's look at Rector. Rector PHP. So I think we're kind of in a weird. Oh boy. Yeah, we're at a weird spot. Updated Rector to commit. Yeah. So yeah, it's even here that says running Rector, container configurator, the loader. We have that. So yeah, we just need that in the dev. And maybe it's not needed once we get rid of Rector prefixed. Status, add composer, git amend, git push F, and hopefully that will fix this. While that runs, I'm going to check the Slack. See. So let's see. PHP stand passed. So I'm guessing it has to do with the fact that the dependency injection, like, so the container configurator is passed, but without having this available, it's part of Rector prefixed and is aliased, so it gets all kinds of angry. So right, loader, and it's the configurator, container configurator. So here you'll see that we have the class here, but it's in a prefix namespace, and it's aliased properly, but it was still getting mad. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's a bug in PHP stand that wasn't getting the alias correctly, but it gets our dev to run, and it passed on the functional. So let's see. This is a bit unconventional, but there isn't a way to document in JSON. Wanted to highlight why we have it as an extra require dev. Behat caused this to be installed, which is why it wasn't a problem before. But even that, yeah. Oh wait, no, I never even ran. This wasn't caught before because the PHP stand branch wasn't merged. That's it. I don't even remember things right. The PHP stand wasn't merged yet, so it wasn't able to be caught. So there's that. All right. Reset back to all the pull requests. We have remove behat to do it directly. Move Rector to 0.11, which this is just waiting for Ken to see my my comments. Drupal.org project Rector. Let's see. Got the comment here. Comment here. So there's that. Has been committed. All right. So coming up on about time, because I do these for about 2 hours because that's as much as my brain can usually take, and I've got to get my son to his baseball game. So I'm pretty excited about this. We've gotten a lot of the base triage up. Next week, my goal will be getting PHP unit in and using the PHP unit to better test our upgrade to Drupal 9 support and adding rules. Just a quick show why I care so much about that. Let's look at my original work. Rector. I can't type. Oh, I really can't type. So I'll show an example of why getting the PHP unit in would be a great help. I only added it for one rule. So if we go into source, I did a Drupal integration, but here we have the date, time, storage, time zone rector. So you have this config, which is, this config file is like the same thing we see here, but it's just doing the one rector. So we have that. And then we have the fixture. And this kind of looks like PHP tests where there's like the dash that represents a different file. So this is the source. And then this is what is expected. So when you write the test, you create a fixture, which has the source code to be rectorized or refactored. And then the end result that's expected per rule. Right now, there's the functional test, which takes all of this, and then it runs it directly and then compares it to be the end result. So it's like that, but inside PHP unit. And this is how Rector does all their rules. And then with the PHP unit test, it extends the Rector test. You give it the test and you tell it the files that run. And it's as simple as this, implementing these few methods, and we get a test coverage of it. So what I would like to do is get PHP unit so we can write tests for all of the existing coverage and then get Drupal 9 support added. That way we have high confidence in everything, and with that we could work on some of these rules for like any delete multiple, DB table exists. If these don't exist yet, maybe I can quick triage that to see. So that's the plan. PHP unit for next week. So that way we can get tests written for everything. And since my brain is so bad, goals for next stream is PHP unit for testing existing rules. Get all existing rules covered by, I deleted, I would, by PHP unit for automated testing, unblocks movement to Drupal 9, and testing Drupal 9 deprecation rules. So that'll be my goal for next week, is the PHP unit. I just want to check this entity delete multiple. I feel like we should have that entity delete multiple. All right, let's see. Let's do a little bit of triage. Entity delete multiple Rector. Let's annotate. Close up. Annotate. Copy revision number. That was outdated. This was added in revision. And for good measure, we'll even link to it from here. So that was outdated. So at some point in time that was added. I'm not sure who. By Weber. Florian Weber. DB table exists. That is not in here. So that is needed. Wait. DB tables exist. Yep. This is still needed. And Drupal set message was added. I'll call this outdated. Exists. Do a quick, I really hate this called blame instead of just annotate. This was one of the initial. The commit, blah. All right, so that's a little bit of issue triage. So that way we have a bit of a clearer picture. L is incorrectly replaced with a link object. Proxy classes. Rector suggests using the original class name. Project update bot entity load. Yeah. Well, oh wait. Core version requirement. Let's see this. The module does not appear to find an error with the deprecated core in the info.yaml. Leave that be. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. I gotta go. And again, thank you, Palantir, for sponsoring the time for these live streams. And if you are looking for a job, Palantir is hiring a Drupal engineer. Go to palantir.net and look up the job and apply. So thanks, and I'll see you on Friday, I will be doing my hack and play. I haven't decided what I'm doing, but Friday at 3 p.m. Central. And Sunday, I'll be getting back on my simplytest.me live streams at 10 a.m. Central. And of course, next week, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central, working on Drupal Rector. Thanks. Have a good one.